Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, I hope you will be fine and healthy. Today we will discuss about Sustainable Development Goals SDGs 17. In the year 2015, leaders from 193 countries of the world came together to face the future. And what they saw was daunting famines, drought, wars, poverty, not just in some faraway place, but in their own cities and towns and villages. They knew things didn't have to be this way. They knew we had enough food to feed the world, but that it wasn't getting shared. They knew there were medicine for HIV and other diseases, but they cost a lot. They knew that earthquakes and floods were inevitable, but that the high death tolls were not. They also knew that billions of people worldwide shared their hope for a better future. So leaders from these countries created a plan called the Sustainable Development Goals. This set of 17 goals imagines a future just 15 years off that would be rid of poverty and hunger and safe from the worst effect of climate change. It's an ambitious plan, but there is ample evidence that we can succeed. In the past 15 years, the international community cut extreme poverty in half. Now we can finish the job. The United Nations Development Programme (UNDP) is one of the leading organizations working to fulfill the SDGs by the year 2030. Present in nearly 170 countries and territories, we help nations make the goals reality. We also champion the goals so that people everywhere know how to do their part. UNDP is proud to continue as a leader in this global movement. Now we will study about the Sustainable Development Goals. So how can we understand about these goals? What are your goals? Number one goal is based on no poverty. End extreme poverty in all forms by 2030. Yes, it is an ambitious goal, but we believe it can be done in 2000. The world committed to halving the number of people living in extreme poverty by the year 2015, and we met this goal. However, more than 800 million people around the world still live on less than $1.25 a day. That's about the equivalent of the entire population of Europe living in extreme poverty. Now it's time to build on what we learned and end poverty altogether. Number two, zero hunger. End hunger, achieve food security and improved nutrition, and promote sustainable agriculture. In the past 20 years, hunger has dropped by almost half. Many countries that used to suffer from famine and hunger can now meet the nutritional needs of their most vulnerable people. It's an incredible accomplishment. Now we can go further and end hunger and malnutrition once and for all. That means doing things such as promoting sustainable agriculture and supporting small farmers. It's a tall order. But for the sake of nearly 1 out of every 9 people on earth who go to bed hungry every night, we have got to try imagine a world where everyone has access to sufficient and nutritious food all year round. Together we can make that a reality by 2030. So zero hunger also play an important role in SDGs. Goal number third is based on good health and well-being. It ensures healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. We all know how important it is to be in good health. Our health affects everything from how much we enjoy life to what work we can perform. That's why there is goal to make sure everyone has health coverage and access to safe and effective medicines and vaccines. And the 25 years before the SDGs, we made big strides. Preventable child deaths dropped by more than half, and maternal mortality went down by almost as much. And yet some other numbers remain tragically high, like the fact that 6 million children die every year before their 5th birthday, or the AIDS is the leading cause of death for adolescents in sub-Saharan Africa. We have the means to turn that around and make good health more than just a wish. Number 4 is based on quality education. To ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunity for all. First, the bad news of education, poverty, armed conflict, and other emergencies keep many kids around the world out of school. In fact, kids from the poorest households are 4 times more likely to be out of school than those of the richest households. Now, for some good news, since 2000, there has been enormous progress on the goal to provide primary education to all children worldwide. The total enrollment rate in developing regions has reached 91% by measures, and any school that's good grade. Now let's get an even better grade for all kids and achieve the goal of universal primary and secondary education, affordable vocational training, access to higher education, and more. So quality education is also one of important factors in sustainable development goals. Number 5 is based on gender equality. To achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls, we can celebrate the great progress the world has made in becoming more prosperous and fair, but there is a shadow to the celebration, and just about everywhere women and girls lag behind. There are still gross inequality in work and wages, lots of unpaid women's work such as child care and domestic work, and discrimination in public decision making. But there are grounds for hope. More girls are in school now compared to in 2000. Most regions have reached gender parity in primary education. The percentage of women getting paid for their work is on the rise. The Sustainable Development Goals aim to build on these achievements to ensure that there is an end to discrimination against women and girls everywhere. Clean water and sanitation. To ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all, everyone on earth should have access to safe and affordable drinking water. That's the goal for 2030. Dear students, while many people take clean drinking water and sanitation for granted, many others don't. Water scarcity affects more than 40% of people around the world, and that number is projected to go even higher as a result of climate change. If we continue the path we are on, by 2050, at least 1 in 4 people are likely to be affected by recurring water shortages. But we can take a new path: more international cooperation, protecting wetlands and rivers, sharing water treatment technologies that can lead to accomplishing this goal. Number 7 is based on affordable and clean energy. To ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all, between 1990 and 2010, the number of people with access to electricity increased by 1.7 billion. That's progress to be proud of, and yet, as the world's population continues to rise, still more people will need cheap energy to light their homes and streets, use phones and computers, and do their everyday business. How we get that energy is at issue. Fossil fuels and greenhouse gas emissions are making drastic changes in the climate, leading to big problems on every continent. Instead, we can become more energy efficient and invest in clean energy sources such as solar and wind. That way, we will meet electricity needs and protect the environment. So, in Pakistan, we are also practicing for solar panel and wind energy. This goal can play an important role as well in the environmental cleanliness. Goal number 8 is based on decent work and economic growth. Promote sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all. An important part of economic growth is that people have jobs that pay enough to support themselves and their families. The good news is that the middle class is growing worldwide, almost tripling in size in developing countries in the last 25 years to more than a third of the population. But today, job growth is not keeping pace with the growing labor force. Things don't have to be that way. We can promote policies that encourage entrepreneurship and job creation. We can eradicate forced labor, slavery, and human trafficking. And in the end, we can achieve the goal of decent work for all women and men by 2030. Goal number 9 is based on industry, innovation, and infrastructure. To build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. Technological progress helps us address big global challenges such as creating jobs and becoming more energy efficient. For example, the world is becoming ever more interconnected and prosperous thanks to the internet. The more connected we are, the more we can all benefit from the wisdom and contribution of people everywhere on earth. And yet 4 billion people have no way of getting online, the vast majority of them in developing countries. The more we invest in innovation and infrastructure, the better off we will all be. Bridging the digital divide, promoting sustainable industries, and investing in scientific research and innovation are all important ways to facilitate sustainable development. This goal also plays a very important role. Number 10 is reduced inequality. Reduced inequality we will describe in the next video. So I think you would have got much information about it now.